were talking the other day at Root Bar, like it was me, you, and Hillary, and like she was giving you advice to like trim it down, and I'm like, I have the opposite problem. I have to like beef everything up. Like, I mean, I kind of start with an idea and then I like trim it down as small as possible, and then until it's like one line or two, and then I've like, wait, I can do more with that. But it's the hard part. Yeah, it's the beefing it up. I can't.
I yap too much. I yap too much. I add too many details. I'm like, oh, but the people need to know that.
Yeah, I know.
That this one person said this one thing that makes no sense to the story.
I'm the same. It's like just saying all of it, and then it's like, oh, that was a funny part. You know, there was like 3 funny parts in this long-winded rant, and then trying to chisel things off that aren't funny.
I tried to do that story that I did downstairs yesterday at the Odd, but it was like, I think I did that, and I said that whole story in 60 seconds. Me saying it at the Odd yesterday was like 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Because it was just a fatty story. And I was yapping and sad, but I got it more concise. And then Petey was telling me to beef it up. And I was like, I trimmed it too much. Oops.
Yeah, it's weird. Like that, a really dead room of just comics is kind of weird. I don't know if I like the idea of it, but I'm not sure. Sometimes I'll kind of like lose confidence in something if I do it in a really like empty or dead situation. You know what I mean?
Your delivery isn't there to like give the energy behind the story, because you're like, here's what's happening, here's the joke format I'm trying to do, what do you think? And you're like, I don't know.
One of the things I think you do that's really amazing, though, is that you take a lot of pauses and you do a lot of silence in your set, which I think is like very advanced.
You sit in silence,
sitting in the silence,
insanely well. Oh,
because I see people like will say a line and then they'll just squash it, but you'll like really let it, and there'll be like a laugh, but then there'll be like a second laugh. It's like bigger, just because you let them, and you're kind of like glancing down. You're kind of doing things that like are kind of counter to like what you're supposed to do with body language, but that manages to work for you in some weird way. You're kind of like hiding up there, but it's like part of the, I don't know, it's interesting.
Or you breathe in a very specific way into the microphone. Oh, it's so fun. Your breathing is hilarious, but no, it is.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's people like come up and is like ask me, especially at first, is that like a persona, or is
like
that
a
character? And I'm like, it's kind of very natural. It's sort of tapping into like I don't know, I've been talking a lot lately, like I don't know if I am or not, like might be autistic, and it's like, is that just me like not masking it to that extent? I don't know, but yeah, that's been an interesting thing where I'm just like, hey, I'm at comedy and doing comedy, and everyone, like, I don't know what percentage do you think of our comedians are autistic?
I mean, the funniest ones, I think it's really high correlation between, I think exactly what you said, like being this weird autistic person in the world maybe doesn't work a lot of the time, but on stage it works really well.
Yeah.
Like it's like, that's what you want, is somebody that's not run of the mill, just another generic human. You want that weirdness.
Yeah.
That's so interesting that you say that you on stage acting that way is you not masking, because you're in front of a bunch of people with a spotlight and a microphone, and somehow that takes away the ability to mask. But like one-on-one, you don't get that. I just think that's amazing. Like, how does that work?
It's both. I mean, I'm performing, obviously, like I'm accentuating and like learning and like being like, that works, that doesn't, but it's still like something, like I'm very much in like a flow of it, though. Like, not, I don't know how.
Did you do other, like, did you guys do other stage, like theater or stuff like that? Yeah.
I did theater for 12 years.
Okay. Yeah.
In Atlanta.
Yeah.
So much theater. I was like classically trained vocally for like 6 years.
Oh yeah.
Grew up doing dance and acting all over Georgia. I was that theater kid. I wrote a musical, and I had that produced, and that was my favorite thing I ever did in theater. And I loved the writing thing, and I thought I wanted to go into writing. And then I was like, let me be a doctor. So 180 real quick.
Oh yeah, you've got like a real career. That's very rare for stand-up scene.
I love it, but I missed performing, hence me starting to do open mics.
Yeah.
And here we are.
So did you feel like that? Like you seem pretty comfortable up there, like having done all that other stuff. Kind of, you weren't super nervous getting up and trying to stand up since you've been singing and dancing. And
I think doing smaller rooms is actually way harder than doing theater.
Yeah.
Like when I did the Asheville Comedy Fest, that felt more similar to what I was used to because I'm on a stage. I can't see the audience. They're not 3 feet in front of me.
Yeah.
So I had like a lot more comfortability, and I got into like my theater brain way easier in that space than in like a bar or brewery or Asheville Music Hall. So that was harder for me to sit in. And also I was never good at improv. And so crowd work and like addressing things as they come stand-up wise is something that I was like, oh, this is fun and I'm not great at yet, but the public speaking part came easy.
Yeah, that's weird. I feel the same way that like a theater of like hundreds of people is much easier than Root Bar for 6 people.
Yes.
It's just, even Stephen Wright was even saying that you should have to start with like a theater of 2,000 people, and you should have to work your way up to like 8 drunk people and a bunch of empty chairs in a bar, because it's like there's enough of them to just be laughing, you know. It's like it's weird. Like the less people there are, almost the harder it is.
It's harder to figure out what works and what doesn't, because in a bigger setting there's more like laugh pressure. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like if somebody next to you is laughing and then a bunch of other people, it's like, oh, he said something funny, let's all laugh.
Yeah.
But if it's just 8 of you,
that's a lot less people. Yeah, if there's like 1,000, somebody's gonna like it probably.
Yeah.
8. Like, how was the Asheville Comedy Fest? Was it cool?
It was really fun.
Yeah,
I was so out of my league in a really good way.
Yeah,
I think I walked in and everybody that I was meeting and networking with, I was like, I have no idea what's going on at all. I don't know how to just talk about what they're up to, because I don't know what to tell them I'm up to. And it was kind of fun because I learned a lot of things now that I think are going to be really applicable right now where I'm at, rather than learning them like 10, 15, 20, 30 years down the line. Because that's like how long some of the comedians that were there have been doing this.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I've been doing this 15 years. Oh, I just got done with a tour in Europe. Or, oh, I do this. And oh, I've been on America's Got Talent. And I'm like, I'm just here at 8 months in, just kind of shaking in my boots. But I learned so much.
Yeah. That's cool. That's an awesome experience to get to do.
It was really, really fun. But we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know how to do networking or any of that stuff. I don't know how to like talk about the cool things I've done or listen to other people. I don't know. I don't know how to do that. Like I wish I had that skill of the networking skill, but I don't.
I'm just yapper.
Yeah.
I just be talking. So I was like, this is like talking to drunk people at bars.
Yeah.
And I was just talking, just interrogating them on their lore. And I think my current job was like a weird thing that they were like, oh, what? Why are you? So they wanted to ask me a lot of questions about that. So that was easy for me to talk about. But
yeah,
there was nothing comedy-wise that I could talk about and be like, oh, I've done this, or oh, I've learned this, because I haven't learned or done anything. That was my learning done thing.
Well, that's probably good. People probably just want to talk about their own things, so you can just be more the listener. And
that's true.
And people like that more.
Got to learn.
Trying to like one-up people. Like, oh, well, this is my 3rd European, blah, 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 or whatever. Yeah. Well, that's cool. Huh. Do you guys have like comedic like how did you like, I don't know, are you into like the one-liner? Are you into like Stephen Wright and Mitch Hedberg and people like that? Like
of course. Those were always like my favorites, like Mitch Hedberg especially. I mean, he's kind of everybody's, I feel like, but yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, just him. I'm not like outside of that the biggest probably stand-up comedy fan, but it was always something that was like on growing up, or like that we could watch or do, like
in your house with your family?
Yeah, I think my parents were like fans of stand-up comedy, and so it would be on. And also just like, yeah, just cable back then, you just had like 3 good channels, and it was like Comedy Central, or cartoons, and that was
they're pretty similar, I think. Like
yeah.
I've been
Comedy
watching
Central
like
and cartoons.
because like on this podcast, like I learned a lot, doing this, and like Bugs Bunny comes up all the time on here. Like, and like sometimes I'll watch like Richard Pryor like with the sound down, and then I'll watch like Bugs Bunny with the sound down, and it's like it's a lot more similar than you'd think. It's really weird, even though he's saying all this like really profound stuff. Like it's just like silly, I think there is an element of stand up, which I don't really do enough, but like just being like a goofy physical type person. But I don't know. I guess there's like the one-liner guys are just interesting because I think I have this theory to be like a short joke person, you got to be a weirdo, and I think that you kind of do it that way. Like,
wait, I'm a weirdo?
Yeah. And it's a good thing. Like Mitch and like Stephen Wright, like Rodney, I mean, like Demetri Martin, like they're just weird. Like it's just, they're not just like the every person, or, you know what I mean? Like there's something, I feel like in order to pull off short jokes, you have to be a little bit from like outer space or something. Which is a compliment.
I appreciate it.
Because it's working. I don't know. I mean, I think that's like one of my challenges in stand-up is not, I think I can just kind of scan as like the basic, middle-aged dad. So it's like, if you have some weird quality, I think that is really helpful. I mean, you got to have good jokes too, which you do, but does that make sense what I'm saying?
No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It's like part of your persona also leads to the delivery, and your ability to sit in silence sits so well with a one-liner.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, waiting for you to either say something else or like, is the joke, oh my God, this is both amazing and uncomfortable, but in an amazing way.
Yeah, and it's like you're like, you seem like a shy person, so it's like really interesting that you're letting there be that much silence. So that it's like, I don't know, it's just some kind of magnetism.
Yeah, I think there's like a power in the silence, I think.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think like growing up, like I have 2 twin older brothers who were both like outgoing, very talkative, like both of them, and then a younger sister who is very outgoing, very talkative. And so like to have like a microphone, I think it's like some kind of unresolved childhood thing, like no one else can talk.
Yeah.
If I want there to be silence, like I would have to fight for a joke before, but now I can let it sit as long as I want.
It is amazing because like in any other setting, if you let there be silence, somebody else takes it. But it's like, no, this is my time. This is like the only place where it's agreed upon that. I mean, sometimes there's bad audience members, but it's supposed to be your time. Yeah, that's cool. That makes sense. Like the middle child. Just never getting to like have people sit in your silence. Exactly. Somebody else is like, I'll say my thing now.
Yeah.
Do you think about that too? With like, do you like kind of like you have like a fun dress style? Is that do you do that like all the time before stand up, or is that kind of more like what I was saying about not scanning as like basic, like, hey, I gotta look, I'm fun. Like, is that something new?
This is how I have always dressed. I think I've kind of just like come into my style a little more since I moved to Asheville, but I think it didn't become like an Asheville style. Like 2 weeks ago, Petey said to me that I'm Asheville's Billie Eilish, and I was like, I love that. Thank you. I don't know. I started buying a lot of hats when I moved here. I have so many hats, and I bought them from the guys that sell stuff out of their trunks in the parking lots around here. Mm-hmm. They have some good stuff.
Oh, I've been looking for good hats.
Oh.
Where do you go to find a parking lot hat person?
The parking lot hat people?
Never seen that.
Okay, so in West Asheville, across from the Ingalls on Haywood Road, there used to be this parking lot hat guy, and I got so much stuff from him. But every month, the Asheville Vintage Market comes to town during the warm months, and they bring in resellers from all over North Carolina, and there are so many good hats. So I buy a lot of I actually think, this bandana and this shirt I got at the last Asheville Vintage Market. I like to be a colorful lady, and I like things on my head for some reason.
Yeah.
It feels like a safety net for some reason.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't have hair anymore, so I'm like trying to find fun hats, you know.
It started with NASCAR and then just went up from there.
Yeah. Do you wear like scrubs at work?
Yes.
So you can't show that side of yourself.
Yeah, nobody that I work with
by day.
Nobody that I work with knows what I look like outside of work. When they like see me outside of work, if they've never seen me outside of work, like we have a work thing, because we have like a scrub cap, we have glasses, we have a mask, we have scrubs on, and I guess they don't expect like the style that I have based on the scrub outfit that I wear. And one of my coworkers at our Christmas party, it was her first time seeing me outside of work, and we were having like a 15-minute conversation, and she just was looking at me really confused. She was like, "I'm sorry, who are you?" And I was like, "Jess, it's Zandra." And she was like, "Oh," I was like, "We work 3 days a week together every week.
Like, just
are
the
you
face
kidding
and the
me
voice
right
wasn't
now?"
enough. It's like,
Okay, but that's what it's like. So I kind of go incognito outside of work, and I don't run into anybody outside of work, to my knowledge, because I don't know what they look like either.
yeah, I don't like people from work like that. I mean, I like them, but but I don't like them coming to shows is what I was going to say. Like I prefer to perform for strangers. You know what I mean? Like just a good, honest, if I get them to laugh, it counts. And if not, I don't feel ashamed, like when people from work come and you're like, well, this is the one time they'll ever see me do stand up. A lot of them are bad. A lot of the shows I do are real bad, Do you guys like it when people come that
I've had a lot of my coworkers come to see me, actually, like a lot, which is very wholesome.
Yeah. They're supporting you. That's cool.
Considering that some of them I don't even know have come to see me. Like, I don't work neuro, but the entire neuro team came to see me one time. And I was like, oh, what? Guys. They're like, we just heard and we had to see for ourselves. And I was like, oh, okay, good. Good thing I didn't do bad that day.
Yeah, if you do good, then it's good. I had a coworker see me a few weeks ago on a show. I was like, oh, I'm nervous. And then it was a good show. I was like, cool, I'm glad he came because he can tell the others I'm funny. Don't ever come again. You saw a good one.
Yeah, I forget what comedian said it, but they're like doing stand up. Like, I don't want anybody to come out. It's like they compared it to stripping. They're like,
yeah,
I don't want my family to watch me.
Yeah,
I'm like, I get that.
It's a perfect metaphor. Yeah. I'm showing parts of myself you don't need to see.
Yeah.
I remember the first time my dad came to see me, because I do a lot of like raunchy content, and I was like, do you want to hear the dick sucking stories one-on-one or in a room full of people for the first time? Pick your poison. And he chose one-on-one, actually.
Whoa.
So that was a fun living room encounter.
That kind of sounds worse, Just sitting at like across from
standing in my living room.
I was hoping you'd pick the other one where there's a bunch of strangers there.
No, he was like, I'll just hear it one-on-one. So if I have questions, I was like, questions? He didn't have questions, thank God. But,
yeah.
It was fine. It went fine.
That's not a side that you guys don't joke around that way.
No, my dad has raunchy humor, but like I don't just tell a sex story of my own to my father.
Yeah.
That would be insane.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But in that instance, I did have to.
Yeah.
So
after you did it, what did he?
Oh, he was laughing his ass off.
Well,
my dad thinks I'm hilarious. My mom does not. She does not think I'm funny. She just doesn't have raunchy humor. So she's like, I don't understand it. I was like, oh, well, it's not everybody's cup of tea. So,
but she's not like judging it or saying you shouldn't do it. She's just,
oh no,
I don't get it.
She just doesn't get it.
Yeah,
she just doesn't get it.
Yeah. Does your family, Isaac, know that you are doing stand up? Have they?
Yeah, they know that I do it.
Do they live
they'll see
nearby.
Yeah, they live. They live down in Greenville.
Okay.
Yeah, but they haven't seen me do it.
If
they're watching, it's all clean. It's
I mean, you're pretty clean.
I'm pretty clean.
Yeah,
I'm pretty clean.
Are you from Greenville?
I lived there for a while.
Okay.
I went to school at Spartanburg, USC Upstate.
What did you study?
I studied history.
Oh.
Yeah, I have a history degree. It's so useful.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I did a history joke the other day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard that one.
Which
No. I forgot that I did that.
Oh, with the odd yesterday? Oh, I missed it.
No, it was at Mondays. But yeah, no, it's long. I don't know if it's any good, but it did okay.
You didn't do stand-up in Greenville first, did you? Because they kind of have
no.
seen, like, was your first time doing stand-up that time at Asheville Pizza?
Yeah, it was at, you were hosting, I think.
A couple years ago?
Yeah, it was a couple years ago.
Yeah,
now.
that's interesting because you, like, did it maybe a few times then or once, but then you kind of took time off and then came back. It's been cool to see you get, like, a lot more confident in your weirdness because I remember you had a kind of a compelling different sort of thing even that first time. I wasn't sure if it was your first time or not, but you seemed like nervous and new, but then it's been cool to see you kind of had your style though, but now you seem like you're a lot more like just confident and comfortable with the silences.
Yeah. I think that was a hard part, is getting more comfortable with the silences, more confident with the performance aspect, and like getting that. I'm still working on it, especially with new material. It's always hard, like each time, like to have like the not to pull the punch on it, like to let it sit in silence or to do the opposite and make it, find the rhythm of it. It's hard. It's really hard to find the rhythm for me.
Do you have to like commit beforehand?
Yeah,
I will let there be a silence.
Not as much as silent. I think I do find the silences more naturally, but like just like what I'm going to say and how I'm going to say it, like everything is, I don't know, it's just hard to like, find it.
Do you know the rhythm of the words? Like, do you say it out loud before so you kind of know the song of it, or do you think about it that way?
I think I just say it in my head enough that like I work it in my head and like I can get it pretty clearly in my head enough times, just like getting that concentration of being able to get to that headspace to do that. It's hard.
Do you plan the silences like in the joke, or do you put them in there based on audience reaction?
Yeah, they're pretty like natural, I think. I'm trying to think about
such good instincts.
Yeah, that is good instincts. It's like there's times where I'll like forget what I'm gonna say, or I need to look at the note, or I'm like, I gotta just take a moment here, and I unplanned add silence, and then another like better laugh comes, and I'm like, oh shit! It's just like these constant reminders to like slow down, sit in the silence. But then when I'm up there, everything can kind of like speed up, and especially if it's a new thing that I don't have confidence in, I notice I'm a lot more likely to rush out of the silence, which like signals that I'm not confident in what I'm saying, and then they don't laugh. So I slowing down. Pausing is the best. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah, even you saying this now, I'm like, slow down that joke, slow down that joke. You can slow it even slower, even slower.
I need to slow down. I'll just start filling in like curse words in my pauses. That's my bad habit. I need to get out of.
I mean, there is that style though. I mean, there's definitely like the rant style. There's a lot of people that don't. I don't think you necessarily have to do it that way. That's my taste. I really like the silences, but I think some people,
enjoy a good rant.
Yeah, like I don't know, like if Bill Burr, like does he take a lot of thoughtful pauses? Is it like I don't know, Doug Stanhope, people just kind of get up and just like rant through it, and that can work too. So I don't think you have to do it that way. But it is a way to stand out, I think, which is nice. Like, which I think is just a cool like negative energy because you're standing out by not doing stuff. Whereas I don't know, there's like how many people at the open mic tonight will not say something for 3 full seconds during their set. I bet it's pretty
like
small.
10% or less.
Yeah. So there's just something about it that I'm always like, yeah, silence. It's like listening to Miles Davis or something where he'll play a note and then he'll just like not play a note for like 5 seconds and you're like, whoa, that's badass.
Yeah, I think your style is less about the silences. Like I think you definitely do well like just powering through it a lot of the time, like and just like going like just immediate, because that's just how your rhythm is just more in the words. Like
it's It's very scripted.
Yeah.
All of my comedy is scripted.
Oh, really?
Oh, I will write out a complete sentence and like memorize it like a script. And that is the theater kid in me.
Oh, wow.
Like I have to get out of this habit, which is another reason why I'm bad at like sitting in moments audience wise, because like I mentally black out every time I do comedy. Like I have a script in my head and I chug through it no matter what's happening in front of me. And sometimes that works for me and sometimes it doesn't. It's like I don't know, like I don't even notice laughter until I watch a recording or I listen to it back. A lot of times, like I'm like, I don't know if that was funny, and somebody will be like, "Oh, everybody was laughing," and I'm like, "Were they?" And I'm like, "I couldn't hear it. I was chugging along."
Yeah, it can be hard
blackout
sometimes.
every time.
Like, it's just so intense. It could be hard to. It's
Yeah.
weird though. It doesn't feel that way to me. I would not have guessed that you write it out.
Oh,
Feels
thank you.
pretty natural.
Yes, acting.
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of what it is. It's like performance, acting, like that's kind of what you're doing, or like just tapping into the. I say acting, not like. I don't know. It sounds like the opposite of what it is almost, but you're tapping into the real emotion.
Yeah.
But it's not. You're not actually like. I feel like. One of my, like, I have a joke about depression, and it's stupid. It's just like kind of a one-liner, but like I try to tap into like the emotion, and
Right.
like I get like I got like a little choked up at the end of it before, and it's just like you gotta like that kind of acting where you're like trying to find the
Access
realness,
the
yeah,
emotions.
access it, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's true. I think there's like you can tell a joke so many times that then you don't have that anymore. Like I've had that happen where it's like I've just told that joke too many times, and even though I try to deliver it, like if I'm not feeling it, it doesn't work. You know, that's what I love about comedy. It's like it's not on a screen. Like I think they can tell if you're in it, like if you're feeling it. You know what I mean? Like there's some like chemical reaction or something.
For sure. I'm like so new to it, but I even feel that I'm like I'm done with that joke. I'm done telling it. It's not there, and it's like. Even already, it's like I've got to go. Like I literally just like wrote the other day in my notebook, why is this funny again? Like what about it did I find funny initially? And like trying to find that again, and just like, okay, I've got to reword it, do something, because that is funny, but like where is it?
Like you're tired of saying it that way?
Yeah, I'm just tired of saying it.
Hang it up for a month. Maybe it just sometimes it's like I don't know. I was doing like a lot of grinding this year, like just doing 3 a week. Like I committed to that. I was doing 3 a week, and then kind of just started to get, like, or if I had a show that count as one of them, but just 3 reps a week, and but then it's like I started to feel burnt out, you know, and like and I like took a little time off, and then had some like really super fun sets after that. It's like I don't know. There's like this grind culture mentality that I think can almost be harmful sometimes too. Like you have to like. I don't know. I'm going through like a new thing where I'm trying to like not just like
oversaturate.
Or like if I don't go up for a week, I'm like, oh no, I'm getting worse because I didn't go up this week, and other people are getting better. You know, just that like I don't know if you guys even think about it that way, or if that's just my own like self shame of like gotta grind it.
For sure, no, 100%. All that.
Yeah.
You were talking about like people from your work coming to see you.
Yeah.
I swear to God, every day somebody that I work with is like, "When's your next show?" And I'm like, I'm still just trying to write stuff, like, and that feels like pressure on its like external pressure on its own to like constantly be going to open mics, and I'm like, I just did something. Like chill. And I don't have that mentality to be able to do that.
Do you guys have like a you know, I just go tonight if I feel like it, or like I try to get out X number of nights a week, or do you have some sort of, because like if I don't commit to nights, the reason I started committing to 3 nights a week is because I never feel like going out. I'm always just tired. Like I have kids, I get up early, I work all day, but then after I go out and come home, I'm always like super happy that I got out and hung out with weirdos and did some creative and practical things. So it's like if I don't commit to it, I won't do it. You know what I mean? Like, do you guys have? How do you approach that? You just go when you feel like it, or?
I'm a huge social butterfly.
Okay.
But I require a lot of sleep.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of autoimmune issues. So what I do is I get up and go to work, do my 8 hours of surgery, and then I come home and I sleep for 2 to 3 hours every day. And then I go out until midnight, and whether that's doing comedy or whether that's seeing something music wise, whether that's seeing a friend.
Like every night?
Every day.
Whoa.
I like need that routine, and to me that feels routine.
Yeah.
And then I'll get home, be in bed by midnight, and then get up and do it again 8 hours later.
So you sleep 12 to 8. You still get like 8 in at night.
So I sleep 12 to 5.
Okay.
And then I will get up and go do surgery, and then I'm usually home by like 3:30, so I'll usually sleep till like 6.
Yeah.
And then I'll just go till midnight.
I love that.
Interval sleeping. It works for my body really well.
It's like what Isaac was saying about finding your rhythm with your voice. It's kind of like seems similar. Like,
but I don't have kids or a relationship. I'm just responsible for myself, so I can do that. I recognize that is not a family lifestyle. That is just Zandra.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't start doing stand-up till I had a kid, so I think like I probably wouldn't even be able to do it and stay sane without the like support, stable. But it is like fucking exhausting. I mean, there's just so much.
For
like my kids like started school this week, so it's like all the like orientations and then them like feeling out like who are my friends going to be this year, and you just feel that, and you remember being that age and just the heartbreak of it. So it's like, yeah, there's like so much good creativity that comes from it, but it's also so exhausting. I don't know. It's like such a double-edged sword. Yeah, you don't have to comment. It's a different world. I mean, that's what I love about the stand-up, is because a lot of people like demographically like me are like, I just coached my kid's soccer team and just a dad, and it's like I need to be around people that are doing things for like expressing themselves for that. Like that's I need that energy, too. So yeah.
I think I found in the past few years, it's like I need to make like, no matter how exhausted I am or what's going on, like you've got to like put some effort into some sort of creative something. And it's just like so helpful for like mental health and just staying sane. Like it really helps so much. Just just doing this, or making time to write, or making time to draw or do music, whatever it is. Like it's just so helpful.
Yeah, and you have a community. Like that's something I didn't even think about. It was just like I want to be up there doing comedy, but then you end up like with a really diverse group of friends that it's like way more interesting than just like the IT people at work, or other dads or whatever.
The community. This scene is so cool, and like all the people in this scene are really cool. That was something that everybody from out of town that was coming in for the festival was saying. They were like, "Oh, you guys are like all talk to each other and all friends, or all communicate." And I was like, "Oh, is it not like that outside of here?" I don't think it is.
Yeah, and the bigger cities are like, I think it can be just like so many sub scenes.
Competitive.
You don't, and it's like more of the like competitive like I'm not gonna make it, and like I don't know. I mean, that's good to have some of that, but I think like I'm just happy to like I don't have any delusions about like fame. Like I wouldn't even want to be on the road like all year. That just sounds exhausting. But I mean, I am interested in like touring regionally and just getting better at it. Like I'd like to have a good hour that I film, even if I just do it myself and put it on YouTube. So not for fame or money, but just for like the artistic, like finding your voice and being able to communicate your experience in a way that makes people laugh, Did you do any like, you were talking about like creativity being important and doing stand up for like, I don't know, a couple of years. Like, did you do like write songs or poetry or something like that before?
Just like writing for the most part is what I did. I've done like some other art stuff, but I kind of wanted to be a writer for a while, but never quite did anything I liked.
Like short stories or like novels? Or
started short stories. I'm like really into film, and so I wrote screenplays and really bad ones. But I did that for a while as kind of the creative outlet, but it's always very off and on and never very good. But a little bit.
Yeah, because it doesn't seem like you could just start writing jokes out of having never written anything before and having it's like or like the theater. It's still like people like there's always some backstory. I did music for a long time before I did.
What did you play?
Comedy. I kind of play like a lot of instruments. I was like the singer-songwriter thing is what I did when I was in my 20s, and like yelled in a band. It was kind of like the Pixies or Pavement. Yeah, so I like drank a lot and yelled and played loud guitar and stuff.
I love that.
But then like jokes, just I don't know. It's like so much of that music was like angry or sad. So once I had kids, I was like, kind of want to like try to make something like fun happen to atone for all the like misery, like all the miserable art that I made.
Atone for the yelling.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't even want to listen to any of that now.
So it exists.
Yeah, it's all out there, but yeah.
Yeah, what you're talking about though with this scene, like I really do love the scene here, and I like went to Chicago fairly recently, and I was just like, oh, I'll do some stand up, like what, just when I have time, just whatever open mics are like nearby and like that I could have time to get to, so just kind of random bars. But honestly, like I sat through like 40 people at one of them. Like I was like, I'm gonna sit through everything and just see. And I was like, we got a better scene in Asheville. Like I don't think I saw anybody that was
we're
funny
small,
there. And like
mighty.
40 people, I was like, we have like, 15 better people in Asheville. Like and they're more interesting. Like everyone, like I don't know, just it was such a run of the mill night. And I was like, like. You're not guaranteed to see a great show here in Asheville every time, but you know what? Like it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. Was it like all comics in the audience?
Oh
too?
yeah, all comics. Like yeah, I was also saying like there's like disclaimer here, like
greatest mic in the world.
Yeah, like there's
with
not
the tourism that's added to it.
A big old audience of non-comics
you're not gonna
every
find
week. Great sound.
You're not gonna find an open mic audience that good.
Yeah, anywhere. Yeah. I mean, if I moved to Chicago or New York or something, I mean, I'm in a phase of life where that's not even available to me. But I would not survive. Like I could not do that. Like I've had friends that have moved to Chicago and they're like, like I don't know what I had in Asheville. I didn't realize.
For
like
comedy, they moved to Chicago.
Yeah, to do stand up, and it's like one of them was saying there's like this like compound where you go out there and there's like a mic at like 6, 7, and 8. You just like go into a room at 6 and it's just like 40 comics just waiting for their turn to go up, and then you all just shuffle out to the next room, and it's just like it's just the most like disheartening. Yeah, it sounds horrible. Every time I've gone to a big city like for work and I've done a mic, it's been like that too. I'm like, I would not last like 6 months here. Yeah, but that's also like I can't leave, so maybe that's me just like reinforcing my own reality.
I think I definitely would have had a different experience if I started because I'm from Atlanta. I definitely would have had a different experience if I started comedy in Atlanta versus starting comedy here. I don't know if it would have been the same in a bad way. I don't know if I would have continued.
Atlanta's tough. It's I guess Dante moved there. I haven't heard from him. I wonder how he's doing. He's like, if anyone could like make it in Atlanta, I'm sure he will. But
but I'm sure it takes a second to like network because it's so huge there.
Yeah.
Would not have had the same experience.
Yeah, I found Atlanta to be very intimidating the times that I've performed or gone to a mic there. I went and did like a show and a mic there like earlier this year, and the mic was just like it was 3 minutes and the TVs
Did you do
were
Laughing
on.
Skull?
And I didn't that time. I did that last year. Yeah, that one's I like. Have you done Laughing School?
I have.
Yeah.
I haven't gone anywhere outside of Asheville to do comedy yet.
Really?
I want to so bad. I want to do like Charlotte and Greenville or somewhere in Tennessee or go back to Atlanta and do something.
Yeah.
But I just haven't. I haven't traveled a lot.
Yeah, I don't think you need to. Like, I'll be like doing this 9 years in November, so I kind of made a point a couple years ago to be like, all right, I need to like not just sit here and wait to get on whoever's booking the Asheville shows. I was like, I need to start. But yeah, it's exhausting. I always think I'm like super confident at comedy or like a lot more, but then when I like walk into like a Atlanta open mic, I always feel like it's my first open mic again. And those first moments, you're like, oh shit, I don't know any of these people.
Do you still get nervous?
I don't really get nervous. No. I mean, it's more like the anxiety of like how much bandwidth it takes to travel, and like if you stay overnight, and then it's like if the show's bad, or it's kind of like, my time is so rare and valuable because I have kids and I have a job and stuff, so it's more like that. But no, I don't really get nervous. I kind of like, I don't mind bombing and doing bad. It's still pretty exciting. think it's a necessary part of the hero's journey or whatever, you know.
I think you have to get comfortable bombing.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm comfortable bombing yet.
Yeah. Yeah. I say that, but then it's upsetting. Yeah. I don't know.
One day I'll experience bombing, but I'm still waiting.
You're so good at silences that I feel like even if you were bombing, you would somehow 180 it.
Yeah.
Everybody would be like, this is perfect.
It's like a game of chicken where you're
yes,
like,
honestly.
well, I'm just going to keep pausing until you all laugh. And they're like, it's like, it works, you know?
No, the worst I've ever bombed is I always end up speeding up too. You just like, you get that in you and you start speeding up and you make it worse.
But for you, speeding up is probably like just maybe approaching the
speaking at a normal pace.
Yeah, like just slightly below the average. Like it still scans as slow. Yeah, I don't know. You know that Isaac can wait out these.
I know. What the hell?
He's very comfortable.
He'll just be so like, you see me over here? I'm like, I've changed positions like 12 times. I can't sit in silence.
I was like trying, but that was as long as I could go. I was like glancing around like,
I can't do it.
Yeah.
I don't do silence well.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you guys have like comedy goals? Or I mean, you don't have to, but do you have like things like a year from now or like 5 years from now? Do you think about stuff like that? Like,
I would love to get to a place with, like right now, my first hurdle is to get good video content of myself. Because I learned a lot about that from other comedians and like what works and what products to use. What things to use, and I think that's my first hurdle that I want to get done, because I would love to apply to other festivals around the US, because that was really fun meeting like a bunch of comedians from all over. But I think what I could do with my job that would be really cool is like I can take travel assignments with my job, so I think it would be really fun to like take like a 13-week contract somewhere in like a big city and just try mics there, and then take a 13-week contract in another city and try mics there. And so I think that would be like a soft goal, because I don't know if I would want to do this long term. I haven't decided if I want to. I just started this so randomly. You were talking earlier about like comedy in your past. I had never seen stand up before November of last year. I have no history with it, so I'm building my history now, and I don't know what I would want to do with it. But
I think sometimes being an outsider, like some of my favorite musicians are like that. They're like outsider artists. Like sometimes it's like it can be good to be a comedy nerd, but sometimes it can be good to just like
not know what's
bring
going
shit
on, come in
from other
blind.
Yeah.
I think that would be really fun. I think it would be fun to take what I do now and cater to the job that I have now. Like they were talking about catering on a corporate level, like your comedy, and I was like, healthcare, let's go.
I think you gotta be clean.
Hire me for.
I think
Really? You have to be clean?
Not. I think so. I think corporate's usually clean, but maybe not. I don't know.
Rude. Well,
maybe not. Maybe you're. If it's like a cool, maybe like the medical. You guys see so much crazy shit that people are just ready for fucked
anything.
up jokes. Don't you guys make like crazy ass jokes all day just to?
Oh, absolutely.
Deal with
it's like a locker room in there.
Yeah.
All of my jokes I have test worked in the operating room before I've test worked them in like a workshop or in front of an audience.
That's funny. It starts in an operating room.
It does for me, because they'll hear it real time. I'll be like, guys, I went on this date last night and it was insane. Here's what happened. And they're like, Zandra, what? And then I'm like, okay, good reaction. We'll write down into joke format later. Like that's exactly how I do that. But it's very.
There's like a person asleep with like cut open at that time, and you're like pitching the first draft of the bit.
We're talking. We're not sitting in silence doing surgery. That's insane. There's music going.
Yeah.
We're chatting.
Yeah.
What'd you do this weekend? Hand me that mallet.
If they laugh like too hard, don't they like accidentally.
I mean, I don't do neurosurgery and I don't do vascular. I do orthopedics. So it's very like stuff that you see in a garage: mallets, hammers, saws, screws.
Yeah.
So also, I'm not performing the surgery. I'm passing instruments. So I am not in charge of my own jerk ability, but you know, they have.
I think this could work on stage. Just talking about like just the idea that you're
this cadence
drafting.
that I'm drafting my jokes
Yes.
while there's a body.
I think there's something there. Yeah. I mean, I think that's pretty like a compelling premise, and it's really like authentic to you.
Yeah, I think that was one niche that I like am trying to explore a little more. Is how do I talk about my work in a way that people that don't work in healthcare want to hear about it? Yeah. Because sometimes it gets a little confusing and advanced to where I can't say things that I want to say because it goes right over their head. So I'm trying to figure out what that niche is that people that don't work in healthcare want to know about the operating room and would find funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of like one of my main goals with stand-up is just like I feel like just misunderstood my whole life. Like nobody knows what the fuck I'm talking about. So just like comedy is like that audience will not politely act like they know. You know what I mean? Like you have to like make a point quickly and like you're saying like do it in a way that's like broad and relatable. I love the challenge of like taking something that's very specific to your world and trying to get it to where just a general audience knows what you mean. It's so much harder than you'd think.
I think there's like a big curiosity aspect too about people would want to know. They want to ask questions, but they don't know what kind of questions to ask.
Yeah.
About like that life, because they don't know what happens. Anybody that comes into contact with the operating room is asleep.
Yeah.
Unless they work there.
Yeah.
But we've all either had a surgery or know somebody who's had a surgery.
Yeah. You have to like watch those surgery shows or something to know.
I'm the worst person to watch like healthcare shows with because I just say everything that's wrong.
Like, nope, shouldn't have done that. They're fucking
unsterile. That is not what that is called.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I just blanked on it. No, just like when you know too much about something, like I'm that way with certain like historical movies. I'm just like, it ruins it for me. Yeah, I know it's a movie, but like it's the real life. When the real life is annoying, when the real thing is more interesting than what they do. That's what bothers me.
Yeah.
Like when I'm like, well, you could have just done the real thing and that would have made it more interesting.
Yeah. It would have been more authentic.
Right.
There wouldn't be this false reality of what that looks like.
Yeah.
I would be very interested to see how you would tie like a history moment into a joke, because I feel like history is something that like only, not everybody's just like, oh, history buff knows niche things. So like from an audience perspective, how you would bring it in if they didn't know that piece that you were talking about. It's like bringing in pop culture moments that people don't know what you're talking about. And you're like,
I never know anything's happening in pop culture. Like,
I think that's my biggest pet peeve is people doing pop culture stuff, because it doesn't work. Like,
you'll drop a name.
99% of the time it doesn't.
Yeah.
Even if when you know it, you're just like, I don't know if referencing that someone else is funny necessarily. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
It takes like a lot of work on that to like make it. Yeah, I don't know how people do it, but
yeah. You remember Carlin was saying like he deliberately never did anything like that because he wants his jokes to be like something you still know at 30 years in the future. And if you're just talking about like topical stuff, it's pretty fleeting. Do you have like is there a specific like part of history that you like? Ooh. You know, what's like?
Yeah, I mean it's so broad. Like history is everything.
What's your niche? Like?
I studied like early 20th century.
Okay.
Like Europe, World War I, World War II, in between. World War I and post World War I mostly. Yeah.
And that was just of interest to you, like reading.
Yeah.
Like slowly, just you could just kind of be
the silence.
Interested. Yeah.
It just always interested me. I was just always interested in kind of the like extremes of
the human experience, I think, when I was younger especially, and now I'm a little bit more like squeamish and don't do that anymore.
Like,
so
it's like it seems too real, like it could.
Yeah. Like used to just be like very interested in just like just what I was just always like, whoa, these are like people write down this stuff like their most extreme experience you can have as a human, like
you mean like war and suffering?
Just being in war and suffering, Holocaust, like everything, like it just always fascinated me a little bit.
How old? You were like a little kid and you were just like
read about war,
just like
bedtime stories.
just always kind of interested in me. I just always like very like just also just like a warning as to like how does this happen and that kind of thing. So I was always just interested in that. And but yeah, I have a history degree, but it says bachelor's is very broad, and I studied different stuff, and I don't know anything. That's what you realize when you get a degree is how little you know about everything.
I love the verbiage that you said, the extremes of the human experience, because I feel like your comedy style is an extreme of a human experience as well. Like the silence that you sit in. Yeah. So especially considering this is supposed to be a laughing matter.
Yeah.
I love that. That was really
talking about falconry.
That is my favorite joke that you do. Yeah. The falcon. Yeah. It is so
that's like the one that kind of
amazing.
Like maybe the Netflix like preview or something would be like because it's like I think there's like pretty absurd.
Just a single glove.
Like, I don't know.
Spotlight on it. Microphone instead of a falcon.
Yeah.
I'm making your poster.
That one was just it was a one-liner for a long time, or like a two-line joke, and it didn't really work. And then like I set it aside, and then
like the Amazon stuff to it. Or?
Just it was before it was just like I'm trying to get into falconry. I don't know how to get the falcon. That was the whole joke. Like that was the whole joke. But and I'm like, then I kind of just set it aside. I'm like. And then I kind of just read it in my notebook, and I'm like, that's a funny idea. Just that. And I kind of like asked like my brother, I was like, is that a funny idea? And they're like, yeah, that's a funny idea, but I don't really, I'm like, no way. I think it's there. And I like worked it out more. And I feel like that's the first good joke. And now I have one good joke. Like,
I mean, it's like, I almost feel like, you doing that joke just over the phone to your brother, like it wouldn't, like there's a performance aspect to it or something where it's like
it was more just pitching the idea of it, like is that a funny idea, because like it's just like I had to get somebody like I trusted their sense of humor, kind of like
is that who you pitch your things to, is your brother?
Honestly, a lot of my jokes, I have a group chat with my brothers and my friend Jonah, and like a lot of the jokes I just pitch are just like pitched in that group chat. Okay. Just like
it's your operating.
That's your operating room.
I
need to get one of these.
You need a pitch outlet.
It's not so much I even pitch them. It's just like I think the first time I went up. Like after the first time, I ended up just going back up and just scrolling through everything I'd said in that group chat. I'm like, okay, that can work in a stand-up. That can't. That could. And so I kind of came out with like a lot of good like one-liners immediately. I don't use a lot of them anymore, but different stuff that I had written in there that I'm like, oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Mm.
That's interesting that you could even know, you could have some sense of what would translate and what wouldn't. You know, that can be a hard
with such
thing.
A niche like familial setting, like what would translate to strangers.
Yeah,
that's true, because mine's stranger, well, not strangers, but kind of. I don't know these people.
Yeah.
I
mean, there's something weird that happens though. I feel like it's like you need the audience is like part of the joke is that like they're all collectively going with you on falconry. Like I think there's like it's I don't know, it's hard to put words on, but there's something kind of funny. There's something almost like absurd that's happening.
Right.
But they're like going with you. And it's kind of like, I don't know, if you didn't say it the way you say it, you know, it wouldn't.
Right. I think that's what I had to find in it. I was like, this is funny. Why isn't anybody laughing? Like this one liner is funny. Like I got to get everyone there with me, and I've got to like take the time and like break it down further. But that's
also one of the few times that you start like acting in a way, like you look up. Like a lot of times your comedy is like down here, but that's one of the first times where like you bring your arm up and you're seeing the falcon, so we're seeing you see the falcon. Yeah. So I think when you pair it with other jokes that you do, it becomes like a whole like mesmerizing thing where you're, because of your comedy style, that's why it stands out so much, because you're like acting it with us, so we're watching you have that moment. So that's another thing that I just thought about.
It's like a rare act out, like a very subtle one, but it yeah. Huh. Yeah, that's something PD has said. He's like, just get one more laugh, just act it out, you know. Just you can always just act, whatever that means to you, like being the character or doing the physical thing. You
I do that a lot.
Squeeze one more out. Yeah.
I have a very readable face, especially in real life. When I think things, I just think them on my face. It's not hard to tell what I'm thinking, so I just do that with the microphone instead. But I love that. I love when you have that whole moment. Oh, so good. So
yeah, I feel like I'm learning right now what like I'm just like, how do I do, like I'm still like learning so much and learning how to like write jokes still, and so it's just like I go back and I'm like, how did I get there, like, because I like that joke, and I'm like, how did I, it's like I get to spaces. You ever get to a space where you're like, how do I write jokes again? Like,
I'm always in that do space. It. I'm constantly, and then occasionally something will work. Like, I did like 3 or 4 months this year where I was like going up 3 times a week, and I was just doing like all like new stuff every week, and I was like,
that's exhausting.
And it's just like, man, like I was like, I don't think I got a single solid bit out of that. Like trying so many things, like how did I do it before, you know? But then after I took a few like weeks off, and then I was like, no, actually there are a few things in here that are good. It's like I almost had to stop like pushing, but I'm always in that space. Like how did I, and it was the same with music before. It's like, how did I write those songs? You know, it's like the idea of like sitting down every day and making some time to write is like a good idea, but I don't know that that's really worked for me. It's kind of like, it's almost like I'll find like there'll be like 1 month in the year where I'll come up with like all my good ideas, and a lot of times it's because there's like traumatic or stressful things going on that seem unrelated, but it'd be really nice. I keep trying to, I would think I'd just be able to like write jokes at some point, but it's so hard just to come up with a bunch of shit that works. I don't know. Do y'all like, is there anything you found has worked better than
I mean, I don't really write jokes. I said that I like go out a lot, and I like spend time out in, I guess, the wild a lot. But I don't go to seek writing jokes. I just kind of live my life, and if something happens, then I'll write it then. And I think it probably takes me like 2 weeks to get like one story how I want it in joke format. Like, I'll just try it raw. I won't like write it out. I'll be like, here's the topic. Just start yapping, see what comes out. Listen to it, trim it down. Like that's what I did with the breakup joke.
Yeah.
The way it was 3 minutes and 30 seconds yesterday,
that was
down
the first
to like
time.
60 seconds today.
Yeah.
We'll see where it gets to eventually, but maybe I need to go back up to 1:30. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I just
give us some more details on that creepy dude.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's like that's probably like the best. The way I was trying to do it, the way that has worked the best for me is like to hit the 3. I do like a root bar and just barf it out, like you're saying, just long. Who gives a shit? And then on Tuesday at the odd, try to like
trim it down.
And then by Wednesday, it's like 4 minutes. So try to really have it, you know, and then just run it every week. Just try to like run them through. And I was a little disappointed that I didn't like come out with like a ton of good material from that. But I think now that I'm getting away from it, it was a valuable thing to do. But yeah, kind of like I kind of go that way, like starting with more and then chiseling it down, versus like I wish I could just write out like just a few words that were just perfect, and then I mean I would totally do it that way if I could.
No, it's terrible.
It's like agonizing, like
just no. It's
adding more thoughts to an idea versus taking away thoughts from an idea. Ugh.
No, I feel like chiseling down is my favorite part, actually.
Yeah.
That's my absolute, like...
You're like building
I feel
with
like
Legos.
That's the one thing I'm good at, is the like, I can get as few words, I can get that down to the funny, but then it's like building it to something bigger and better that I'm struggle with, I think. Like, I can get a good one line out and like a little laugh out of that maybe, but it's not. I want it to be like something a little more like bigger. Yeah, it's like I see somebody like Cody or someone, just like when you see like him like build a joke, like he starts off and it's like I don't know how he gets from that to like A to Z, but I like see it. I see it so and well. I'm like, I saw you do that a week ago and it didn't work, and now this is the funniest thing I've ever heard. Like,
yeah. See, and I feel like he adds the Bugs Bunny to it a lot too, even if it is some like hospital trauma. That by the end, to me, it is like Bugs. There's absurdity. Yeah. There's like voices and like movements, and it does get like kind of adds some Looney Tunes, like adds the Bugs Bunny to it.
Yeah, he's really good at that, but also just like really like a funny idea in that joke. I'm like, how do I get?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how you.
Because he can sit in silence with that absurdity, which I think is even more insane.
Yeah, he'll do good pauses as well. He'll sit in the pregnant pauses. I think he called him that on the podcast. Like he's willing to let it sit.
I need to learn how to pause. That's not my forte.
Yeah, Cody's really interesting. He comes up a lot on this podcast. I mean, I think he's been doing comedy for like 16 years.
Right, and it's like,
million
you just have to be doing it for that.
But he is just like a weirdo, you know, and that's kind of what I mean about like seeming like you're from outer space. Like, I don't think like in his first years he was like just some every dude up there. Like there's that, what you're saying about like finding, like leaning into your autism or like unveiling it in a way, you know, it's like a good place for it. I think he does some magic like that in some way. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So I think where you say like in real life, like you're a little more animated or chatty, and then on the microphone, like you're kind of have that mask unveiled, but it's very like silent. It's like he's the reverse. I feel like in real life, he's a little more like toned, and then on stage, it's like turned up.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like the most like Hillary's on stage like and then she walks off stage and she's like and then the Cody walks off stage and it's like yeah, he was saying that on here, that people like always are coming up to him at the bar like, let's get some more of that, you know, like where's that guy? And he's just like this other, you know, people are just kind of
they're not expecting it.
Yeah.
The first time I just thought of this, the first time I did comedy, and you were hosting, and like I did, you know, whatever. I don't know how I did. I have no reference back then, but
I remember, so that's something.
Yeah,
you know, it was memorable.
Yeah, I did. I got laughs, I remember, and I felt good afterwards. Like, but I had like a couple people come up to me and were like, "Oh yeah, that was good." But then one guy came up to me and he's like, "That was really good. I like your Andy Kaufman thing." And I was like, I don't is that a compliment? Yes. I don't think I was trying to be purposefully like
anti-comedy, or
it wasn't quite trying to be anti-comedy.
I mean, like, anti-comedy is not, but it's kind of like you're subverting the genre. I think you do sort of do that in some weird way that works. Or it's like the body language is kind of like the opposite of like, you know, just the classic advice: make yourself big, make yourself loud, be a performer. And you kind of go the other way, but it works. So I could see that kind of being like, you're kind of subverting the expectation. Like there's a joke in that where you're expecting a comedian and you're like kind of flipping that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't know how to take it. I was like, that's thanks, weird. I guess.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. I think the worst thing is when no one acknowledges that you did it at all ever. They're like, "Oh, did you perform?
You were up there a second ago?"
I don't remember that.
Oh, I got really drunk to do stand up for the first time, like obscenely drunk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where was it?
It was Alley Cat.
Oh yeah.
And it was not bad.
I think I was there for that.
Really?
Yeah. Alley Cat. I vaguely remember, like,
That was the first time that I told the strep throat story.
Yeah. I'm remembering it.
And I got so drunk that I also repeated my entire set that I did for my Uber driver on the way home, which was so horrible. But yeah.
Were you like just on a high from having done it? Like
must have been. Yeah. Must have been. I did karaoke that night too at some point, and I hate karaoke. So I was doing a bunch of things I never do.
Did you have surgery the next morning?
I did. I did. I got up at 5:30 and I went to surgery for 8 hours.
That's cool. It seems like you're really out there living life. I think that can be like, that's a really important with the type of comedy you do, is I have real experiences, you know?
Yes.
Like if people that are just only at open mics all the time, like you go to some city and then you're just sitting there with comedians all the time, every night, like you don't have
life to give material to.
And that's not good.
Yeah. I think my coworkers think my life is like reality TV. I think that's why it feels like I can test my material at work, because they're always like, Zandra, what did you do last night? And I'm like, oh, I went to a twerk competition on a Tuesday, didn't participate, did switch clothes with somebody so they could participate. And they're like, oh my God.
That's why I like want to come to all your shows. This is the most fun person we've ever met in our life.
Believe it or not, I was there that night.
The twerk competition. You were there for the twerk competition. And it did have proof that it happened. I did not participate.
Oh, I believed you.
And it was also right after I had my tonsil surgery too, so I was super high on oxy at this competition. I did switch clothes with my friend so she could participate, and she did win. Let's go, Sky.
Damn, you guys do a lot of fun shit, man.
I think that was the first time we ever hung out, like outside of comedy.
Yeah.
And like just chatted, and now I see you out all the time, and I have so many unhinged experiences that you witness. It's so fun. It's my favorite thing. I love seeing people that I know outside in the wild. That's my favorite thing. That's what I love about Asheville that I didn't get in Atlanta. So you can go somewhere and know like 3 or 10 people. I love that about this place.
I think it's perfect, just the size. I mean, for me especially, I can be home in like 10 minutes, and it kind of feels like we're in some boring suburb, which is good for like my kids playing in the street, but then I can be at the Odd or Asheville Music Hall, and it's just really, it's the perfect size.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We got a lot of comedy here too. When I started, it was just the Odd and Disclaimer was at the Southern. I mean, now is the Monday mic still happening at
Yes, it's at Static Age, and then they also have Bottle Riot now.
Okay, that's right.
Static Age has been popping off.
Really?
Some of these nights, they're getting people in there. Like,
nice.
I love that space.
Building up a crowd. Yeah, it's a hard space. It's like if you get people to sit in the audience, it's great.
Yeah,
but it's a long room at the Loft, and so like.
People sit far.
If people sit at the bar only, then it's like you're too far away for it to. It does like.
Yeah.
That's like it's happened where it's just been like if y'all would just sit in the seats.
Yeah.
It's like this room.
Yeah.
Like Disclaimer. It's such a long room, so I see why you guys turned it sideways.
Yeah, that was such a great move. It's like they were doing it on the stage, and it was like, why isn't this working? And then they flipped it. So
made it more personal,
so counterintuitive. Yeah, and then it's just this nice more. Somebody said that like when it was on the stage, it felt like it should be good more of the time. You're like watching it like doing this, and you're just like bad half of it. You know, this is just more like they're on the floor. So
I think that's what I loved about the Alley Cat is the railing. There was such a weird level of like casualness.
Yeah, that's what was a weird
that you could have that I liked to where it made the stage more casual.
And it had the sideways wall thing too, instead of at the end of a long room. Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, Alley Cat was cool. Monday is like a really tough night for me, but I've been wanting to go check out Static Age. Is the clientele kind of like different? Is like the Odd where you get like the punky, the clientele.
That's what they call it. It is? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just such a new spot that it doesn't have like super regulars yet. I don't know. It's like, but the hosts, Cameron and CJ, they're getting people in, they're working to get people there,
because there's so many bars below there, so it's so easy to like filter people upstairs. I think that's one thing that's really nice. There's like 5 bars below it, so if somebody's like, oh, what's everybody laughing at, or oh, where are you guys going up this mysterious staircase, if they've never been in there before, it's easy to like drag people from the porches downstairs up there.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that they have at that space that other spaces don't have. It's like, disclaimer, you can pull people off the streets walking by with tourism.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of Carrie's, like, it has to be foot traffic.
Yeah.
He's got this like list of 3 things that it has to be that he's refined, him and Petey, over the last like, I don't know, 15 years or something.
Dang.
It's just look at it. I mean, he knows how to get a good open mic. He has some like weird sixth sense about it. But yeah, the foot traffic is a big part of it. It should never be somewhere where like people have to drive to get to it.
Yeah.
In some strip mall.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was like, I wish we did have another like more downtown spots, because you can get people off the street in, like this one does every week. You see it
Every
happen
time.
every time.
It's amazing. The only bad part is just like, just trying to get on the list, you know? It's like, it's just
show
too
up
popular.
super early.
Yeah.
I might have been complaining about it today because I walk in at 6:20 and I'm not on the list.
Oh, really?
I'm on the maybes or whatever, but it's like,
yeah. I would have signed you up if I'd known that.
Oh no! It's I was like, I'll get there early. I'll be fine.
6:20 feels early. I mean, damn.
And there's no one even here at that time, so yeah.
I think last week was with everything going on, like in downtown, nobody came out, so everybody's coming out this week.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I didn't even want to like come.
I didn't
downtown.
either.
I was like,
and I live close to downtown.
I'm tired and I can't handle like trying to even carry this shit in.
No.
Yeah. I heard it was crazy. They were talking about it outside.
They were talking about
like,
the fight that's happened.
Like, I'm not really interested.
I was like, I don't want to see any y'all at work.
Did you come last
thank
week?
you.
No, I wasn't here either. No, I was like, nah. We're good.
Mm-mm.
Well, shit, we've been talking for an hour 20. You think that's good? Should we wrap it up and do the mic?
Okay. I'm going to eat tacos. I'm going to eat my tacos up here.
Still good. Well, thank you.
Can I just stay up here and eat them for a little bit?
Yeah, while I pack up, then you gotta come down. Carrie's very strict about the.
Okay.
But yeah, you got like, some time.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for coming.
Thanks,
on.
Ryan.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye. I felt the need to say it.